let me get this out of the way immediately. This review will be with spoilers, so if you haven't seen it yet, please don't watch any further. Also, if you're only willing to hear glazing, do not proceed further. I like this franchise, evident by this channel's past and current content, so I had preferential bias when I went into this. I knew it wouldn't be peak cinema, but I had faint hopes of a little bit of improvement. Simple as that, just a passing grade. But oh, I was so wrong. This movie left me awestruck. Look, I know I'm not the target demographic for this movie, as it's for teens, same as the previous movie. And I just kept wondering, right, in a movie production as large as this, you have so many people working together to pull it off. But before any footage is shot, before any of the costumes are made, there is the concept stage, or rather the pre-production stage, right? This is where the story is laid out, storyboarded, and concept art is made. All this is to properly lay out the story and make it make sense. My question is, was this stage skipped? Or was it just one person in charge who refused to listen to feedback? Now, before I start yapping about the numerous bads, I want to get the goods out of the way. It was bigger in scale, more characters, animatronics, and more at stake, so there was a lot more eye candy. This movie was generally a lot more scary. They did well with the puppet, especially when it possessed that first girl. I love that. Her jump scare was the only one that got me. Again, the set design, costume and props were fire and fit the vibe of FNAF, same as before. The same people likely worked on this one and they nailed the previous movie's vibe. So we all knew that this would be good. Sound designers cooked hard in my opinion. It's the only reason anything in this movie is scary and any of the jump scares are in any way effective. The reveal of the Wizards was dope. It felt hype as they got their moments in the spotlight. Casting was great, given the old cast reprised their roles. New additions like Michael Afton fit that creepy serial killer vibe. Right, so in order to properly convey what all went wrong, I'm gonna go through the movie sorta step by step. I'm not gonna focus on the nitty-gritty details, because otherwise this movie will be like 3 hours or something. Oh, and before we start, discard any previous understandings and concepts of the franchise. The movie makes its own as it goes. It's like a FNAF alternate universe, but not with shipping.
Oh my god, bro. Oh, hell.
So, we start with this little girl, Charlotte, in the Freddy's establishment. She notices a child being coerced by William Afton in his spring bunny suit to the back door. She then goes to warn adults of what she has seen and all of them react to her in a unreasonable, dismissive and hostile way. She then decides to go in the back herself and hears someone whistling. The body of the boy is there on the ground, unmoving. We assume the boy is dead and that she would run away. So, you know, instead she tries to sneak past him like it's a video game to get to the boy and carry him away. Conveniently, Afton disappears and she picks up the presumably dead boy. She then huddles away while Afton chases her. She appears on the front stage, screams, lets the boy go who is apparently fine. She then takes her tumbling downstairs, showing that she's been stabbed and falls downwards into the arms of the puppet. Then boom, years later, we're back with the regular cast. Abby is having emotional damage and wants to see the FNAF 1 cast again, but Mike tells her they're broken beyond repair. So, she goes to the pizzeria and sits alone and sad in the middle of it. They don't appear. Keep that in mind, it's relevant. Mike joins her and tries to cheer her up. She finds this FNAF-coded walkie-talkie radio device and takes it. But hey, let's not forget about the plushie.
Oh. Maybe not.
This scene took me out. I mean, yes, it's goofy, but it's honestly, it kind of broke my immersion. First time I heard it, but yeah, I mean, it's just a funny Easter egg, I guess. I mean, it is difficult to put into words because at one side I understand it, it's a funny joke, haha. At the other side, the movie does take itself very seriously, and having this in the middle of it kind of breaks the immersion a lot. Kind of breaks the idea of it, like the horror part of it. Maybe I'm reading too much into it. Probably am for just like a small gag, but I don't know. To me, it kind of seems like it's so serious that this joke must have probably been inserted by the editors instead of Scott himself. And maybe he hasn't seen it and he was like, whatever. I don't know. But I guess I'm reading too far into this. Mike leaves home and Abby gets DM'd on her radio thing and is led to the new location. On the bike at night to this other Freddy's abandoned location. There she meets Toy Chica, pretending to be the OG Chica. However, Toy Chica herself is being puppeteered by the Marionette. Thus, Charlotte. Now, the entire movie will play out between the old pizzeria location, Mike's place and roadsides. Characters will either frantically go between them or simply teleport to the places, including the animatronics. Okay, so Marionette can control the other characters, right? But they are region locked to the pizzeria's location. So Michael Afton, son of William Afton, decides one day to also be a murder hobo. Guess he found a job posting on LinkedIn. And so decides to lure some paranormal investigators to the location as bait. Apparently, the Marionette can possess people. And so she does. but not before the investigators do what every group in a horror movie does. Split up and each die individually, including one dude by little marionette dolls. Bro got tickled to death. Michael is then hunted by a possessed girl, Marionette, but he escapes. So, this clearly shows that they don't like each other and are not working together, right? Keep that in mind. We'll come back later. Mike, in the meantime, is at some random guy's house and gets a music box from him. It's implied that this is the father of Charlotte, so the puppet. And for all us lore nerds, this is Henry, the co-founder of Freddy's. But that's irrelevant for this movie. Mike gets a music box and dashes off. So then Vanessa comes to the location and is held captive by the possessed girl Marionette, because she needs the two-step authentication to unlock the region mode. This is so, and I kid you not, Marionette can send out the animatronics to murder every adult everywhere, because she blames them for her death. Not the actual murderer, not the son of the murderer, who clearly is also murderous. No, of course not. Every adult ever is to blame. This is where the start of the movie is relevant, where these parents were so dismissive towards her abduction concerns, but this setup is done so poorly. In the original game series, Charlotte was locked out of the pizzeria and was killed at night in the rain by William Afton. Puppet then came to the body since it was made to make sure Charlotte is safe, and then Charlotte possessed the puppet. But instead of being a turbo killer, she actively tries to thwart William Afton's plans and guide other children's spirits. I love that, but in this movie she's just a murder hobo for the simple sake of being angry. So anyway, Marionette uses Abby to unlock the region lock. These extremely clunky, heavy and cumbersome robots then go out in the big wide world to kill. Mike and Vanessa come to the pizzeria and try to track where they are and sever the connection. Vanessa leaves to go stop the robots, I guess, leaving Mike in the pizzeria. He's somewhat successful and Marionette uses the old wizards to stop him. The whole following sequence is the funniest stuff ever. Obviously it's an homage to the actual Five Nights at Freddy's 2 gameplay, but the way this is done is so funny. Right, so Mike literally rips the head of Balloon Boy in the most nonchalant way. It's really a tragedy what they be doing to my boy. Wither Bunny comes in via the vent and breaks the raster, only for Mike to just put it back up. Bunny just gave up and like, alright, guess that ain't working. And then comes Foxy, right? On whom the mask trick does not work. Instead of trying something else, Mike just goes to the PC to continue his stuff. Meanwhile, Foxy is literally right there. Homeboy is standing right there in front of him and does
Nothing.
So Mike shuts down the connection and the rampage stops. In the meantime, Mangle somehow is on top of Vanessa's car and you see that it's huge and heavy. No matter what she does, Mangle stays stuck to the car roof. Must be the flex seal. Honestly, I can go into detail on why this scene is nonsensical, with her hopping to the other side of the car like that'll change anything, or Mangle trying to reach for Vanessa on the passenger side, rotating the hand like she's trying to seal a business deal. Honestly, could not take this seriously at all. So, meanwhile, Tochika murders a teacher and brings Abby home. Afterwards, her chest bursts open and Puppet comes to possess Abby. So the gang hightails back to Mike's home, where the final standoff happens. Vanessa is there first and gets harassed by the Puppet possessed Abby. But not before Mike comes in, wielding a music box like an AR-15, shooing Marionette away and leaving Abby. And then, absolute peak cinema happens. The toys come in one by one. Vanessa, Abby and Mike are in the thick of it, everybody knows. But not before Michael Afton appears suddenly. Turns out he's Vanessa's brother. And he tries to persuade her to join Michael in being awful and murderous. He's rejected and like any nice guy, he then pretends he doesn't care and commands the toys to kill them. But not before. The OG FNAF 1 gang comes in and starts throwing mad hands at the toys, after which they themselves die. Okay. Let me take a breath here. Who came up with this? This is literally a FNAF SFN fight animation. First of all, since when do the toys listen to Michael Afton? Bro thinks he's part of the team. Second of all, how did the FNAF 1 gang get all the way here if they immediately die afterwards for being too far away from the FNAF 1 location? They walk tens of miles to get here and only now they die? So, you're probably wondering why they're here at all to begin with. Well, Mike went to the old FNAF 1 location to ask for their help. So they do listen to him and show up, but not to Abby, who was doing bad before. They also knew exactly where to go. Also, this whole time I was wondering, what is the puppet doing? Why did everybody forget about the main antagonist, the puppet? Mike then tells Vanessa to get lost before leaving. Mike, homie, brother, my guy, this is your house. Kick her out then. Also, don't you remember that there's still the puppet? Maybe deal with that before... And that's where this ends. You know, this whole movie feels like it's not actually a movie on its own. It feels like sequel bait. They know people will watch this regardless of quality. Story-wise, it's a heinous movie. And I've seen some trash in my time. Reasons and logic are just sidelined by a one-liner for the sake of getting characters in the places they need to be. I remember sitting there at the end of the movie just awestruck in disbelief that this got to where it is. That nobody at all said, maybe not. Again, I'm likely not the target audience anymore, but I would like some sense and logic with my movies. Because if this is the bar, it's set very low. When it's all said and done, I think there are a lot of problems during productions, as well as way too many characters to juggle, because many of them are sidelined or rendered irrelevant. You know, I've said it before, I'm gonna repeat myself here. It always baffles me how these big budget movies are produced by a huge team of super talented people, yet are so incredibly lackluster and amateurish. It makes me question the expertise and skills of the people involved. And if they didn't just climb the ranks of movie production by sheer nepotism or ego-stroking leadership. Or do the vast majority of those involved simply not care, not just dare to get paid? Look, at the end of the day, if you personally enjoyed this movie, all power to you. The world does not end because someone dislikes it, but do be aware that sometimes biases can make you ignorant to faults. I wish I had better things to say, I truly do. This franchise was never the greatest thing on God's green earth, but I'd hope for at least a slight improvement over the previous one. Instead, it's even worse. It is a disappointment, but at least it'll make good money. Wait, damn, it already has? Did someone say printing money?